No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of the 2022 SummerSlam Premium Live event from Nashville, Tennessee at Nissan Stadium. 35,000 fans in attendance, although WWE during the show said there were 40,000 fans, and then they said there were 45,000 fans, and then finally we had Glenn Jacobs, Kane, announced that there was 48,000 something fans in the building. The number just kept going up, but they had around 35,000 fans. It looked good on TV. Half of the stadium was tarped off, though. The hard camera side, there were no fans there, but still looked good on TV. This was the first WWE Premium Live event of the Triple H era. Chat room, leave your thoughts as we go match by match, recapping this show. We started SummerSlam with the Raw Women's Championship, Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, a rematch from WrestleMania. And of course, this feud got started back at last year's SummerSlam when Becky defeated Bianca in the 25 seconds, whatever it was. Anyways, Becky Lynch got the early advantage in this one. Becky Lynch worked over Bianca Belair's arm, and they were on the outside of the ring. Bianca was laying on the barricade, and Becky Lynch hit a leg drop off the barricade. And they kept fighting in and out of the ring. You had Bianca suplexing Becky on the floor. Becky started selling her shoulder, and they were back in the ring. And Bianca got Bayley, I'm jumping ahead here. Bianca got Becky up for the KOD on the floor. Becky barely got back in the ring for a count of 10. And then Becky pulled Bianca by the hair to knock her off the top rope, hit the manhandle slam, but Bianca kicked out of that. Becky tried an avalanche manhandle slam, but Bianca was able to counter that with a Spanish fly. And then Bianca hit another KOD and picked up the victory. Match was pretty solid. I definitely liked the end of it. I liked Bianca hitting the Spanish fly and then hitting the KOD to win. Hamp Connell with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, I enjoyed watching this show. I know, just as shocked as you are, Aaron. Oh yeah, this was a wild show, and This was a good opener between these two. I did think that the WrestleMania match was better, but this was still a good match, and I did like the finish a lot. Bianca Belair gets the decisive win. And then after the match was over, you had Becky Lynch going for the handshake. Bianca Belair was hesitant, and for good reason. But finally, she accepted the handshake, and then Becky Lynch came in for the hug. Bianca's music played, and that was that. Becky Lynch showed the sportswomanship, and then she took her leave. Then, and I jumped the gun a few moments ago, Bayley made her return. Bayley finally back in action. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, to steal Walter Cruz's gimmick, say yes to no DQ. Yes, and if you're enjoying this video, please give it a like on YouTube and spread the word. Tell a friend. Share a link to this video on social media. And Dustin Herrick sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Dustin. Says, Corey Graves, I liked it better when you weren't allowed to have an opinion. And then Michael Cole said, things have changed. A lot of things have changed. That was a good line, Michael Cole. I guess a little reference to Vince McMahon micromanaging the commentators. So Bayley showed up, but the big news here was that she was not alone. Bayley brought out former WWE star, but she's now back, Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai's contract ran out and she did not re-sign several months ago. So we all thought she was done. We thought she was out of WWE, but she is back. This must be the Triple H era for Dakota Kai to be back and on the main roster. And she wasn't the only one. We also had Iyo Shirai, and I believe she has a new name, like Iyo Sky or something like that. Iyo Shirai officially on the main roster, as she should be. This is something that has been long overdue, and they were aligned with Bayley. And I'm liking this a lot, a heel faction led by Bayley with Dakota Kai and Iyo Shirai. I'm all for this. This very much freshens things up in the women's division. So big thumbs up for this moment. And then they got in the ring. They were going to beat up Bianca Belair, but Becky Lynch got back in the ring and stood by Bianca Belair. So I guess this is officially a face turn for Becky Lynch. And this is also something that I think is very much overdue, with Becky Lynch going babyface. Drop the whole Lady Gaga gimmick, Elton John, whatever it is she's doing. And I mentioned this when I did my predictions. Turn Becky Lynch babyface, turn Ronda Rousey heel, and start building up towards what I expect to be one of the WrestleMania main events, Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey one-on-one. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat, says, "Hey, Psycho, that was my thing. Say yes to no DQ. Click, share, and like. Also, awesome SummerSlam, and women's division looks strong now. Hashtag stick to my shtick." I appreciate that, Walter. Thank you for that. And I'm looking forward now to what's next. I figured Bayley, Bianca would be a program, and Becky could always go over to SmackDown and eventually set her up for Ronda Rousey. We'll get to more about Ronda in just a little bit. To respond to Anthony, I believe Dakota was offered a new deal and she turned it down. So that's the situation with her, but she's back now. I guess that's all that matters. Whatever went down, she's back. We had Logan Paul versus The Miz. Miz had his wife Maurice and Ciampa along with him. And this was a really fun match. Logan Paul has a lot of haters. Jermaine Watson sent in a $5 super chat, says, "McAfee and Logan Paul are pretty good. Hopefully WWE doesn't stop hiring wrestlers who have trained for years." I'm sure they'll keep bringing in celebrities when there's an opportunity, but at the same time, the focus will be on bringing in a mix of athletes and independent wrestlers. This was a fun match. I know people do not like Logan Paul, but the guy works his ass off, and he was outmaneuvering The Miz in the early moments. Miz was getting frustrated. Paul busted out a moonsault off the apron to the outside. Everything that Paul did looked pretty solid. For a guy with limited wrestling experience, I mean, Paul looked like a pro. He really pulled off every move well, in my opinion. And Ciampa was interfering in the match. He took a cheap shot, and then later on, after Paul hit a blockbuster, which he wasn't able to make the cover for, Paul put on the figure 4 leg lock. Miz escaped to the rope, and then Ciampa tried to interfere again. The referee caught him. The referee was going to eject Ciampa from the match. But Ciampa was being defiant. Ciampa grabbed the chair and sat down. Then all of a sudden, AJ Styles showed up. His music hit, and he came out of the crowd, attacked Ciampa, and sent him packing. So AJ Styles got his SummerSlam moment. And then the match continued. You had Paul hitting a phenomenal forearm. Miz was able to kick out, and Paul laid out Miz on the announce table, went to the top rope, and did this huge frog splash to the outside, putting Miz through the table. This looked great, and Paul got Miz back in the ring, went for the cover, but Maurice distracted the referee. Miz tried to use a chain or something. He missed. He hit Maurice, knocked her off the apron, and then Paul hit the Miz's own move, the skull-crushing finale, and scored the 1-2-3 victory. So Logan Paul picks up the win. And here's the thing. The crowd, I felt like it was 50-50. When Paul came out there, a lot of people were booing him. But by the time this was over, like he was way over with the fans. When he won, the crowd was cheering like crazy. As far as I'm concerned, like he won over the fans in this match. Very well done by Logan Paul and The Miz too, being the pro, getting him through the match. Both guys did great here. Thumbs up for this. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, how committed do you think Logan Paul is to WWE? Well, clearly he signed a multi-year deal with WWE, and I think that tells you right there that this is something he wants to do long-term. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, Double J got to be on SummerSlam, Ricochet did not. Unfortunately, you could not fit everybody on the show, but thank you for the super chat. And Dr. Scorpio sent in $2, says, and the IC title not being defended on premium live events continues. Again, there's only so many matches you can put on the show without dragging it out too long. But I'm hopeful now in the Triple H era that this will start to change and we'll start to see the titles defended and the IC title defended on pay-per-view more often. Another problem is that they have just so many damn titles. That's the other issue. And Psycho Jet Black sent in another $2 super chat, says, isn't it a bad thing to get pinned by their own move? Well, when you're The Miz, I mean, doesn't really matter that much. The Miz is The Miz. He's going to go out there, keep doing his thing. He'll lose a lot and he'll be entertaining. And, you know, that's kind of the spot he's in. So if anybody can recover from it, it's The Miz. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, with Triple H in charge, can we expect less of getting everyone on a big show because it is annoying? And that's the thing, too. Like, if everybody gets on the show, then people complain that there's too much happening on the show. But then when some people are left off, people are like, oh, that guy's getting buried. You know, you cannot get everybody on the show. That's the name of the game. AEW has the same deal where they have a ton of people and only so much television time and so much pay-per-view time. And WWE does have monthly pay-per-views, so you can spread it out a little bit. But yeah, they can definitely have more IC title matches on these premium live events. Dustin Herrick sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Dustin. Says, Jeff Jarrett should be the Intercontinental Champion. I think that even 20 years ago, that was very debatable if he should be Intercontinental Champion. Just saying. But we'll talk more about Jarrett later. We had Bobby Lashley versus Theory for the United States Championship. At least we got the U.S. title being defended. And here's the thing about this match. Like, I did not even think it was really necessary to have this match on the show. Theory attacked Lashley from behind with the Money in the Bank briefcase, and Lashley insisted on the match being started. Crowd was chanting, "Who's your daddy?" as Theory was working over Lashley. Lashley turned the tide. Theory tried to escape with the briefcase, but Lashley stopped him. And Lashley went for a spear, but Theory did a leapfrog. Lashley hit the ring post. And then Theory tried to finish Lashley off, but Lashley recovered and put on the Hurt Lock, scored the submission victory over Theory. Basically a TV match, and no real surprise here. Theory just putting over people, kind of a joke at this point. And Lashley is a bigger star than Theory at this stage of the game, so I fully expected this. We had Rey and Dominik Mysterio against Judgment Day, Finn Balor and Damian Priest. Rhea Ripley was out there. Mysterio's had a pretty hot start. And Judgment Day, they were able to slow the pace down for a while. Finn Balor was mocking Eddie Guerrero. And Rey eventually tagged in after they worked over Dominik. And this was a no DQ match, by the way. So Rey was using a steel chair on Balor and Priest. He hit a Hurricane Rana to Balor from the top rope. Priest came in to break up the pinfall. And then Rhea Ripley attacked Rey, and Finn Balor wanted to use a steel chair. They were, I guess, going to do the concerto. But then all of a sudden, this music hit, kind of sounded like the Brood's music. So you knew what was coming here. Edge rose up from the fire, doing the Gangrel / Brood entrance. He's got new music, kind of sounded like a remix of the Brood's old theme song. Sounded okay from what I could hear. And Edge came into the ring. He speared both Damian Priest and Finn Balor. Rey Mysterio hit the 619 and then scored the pinfall victory over Balor. Only thing I did not like about this was Judgment Day losing again. Like, I would have been okay with the 50-50 booking in this case, and then have Edge come out after the match to help the Mysterios. But yeah, I guess one of the things that's going to be different in WWE now is they're going to do less 50-50 booking. Just sucks for the Judgment Day that, they're kind of losing steam here very quickly without Edge especially. Jermaine Watson sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, not feeling Dominik's haircut or ring attire. Well, funny you say that because female Aaron, who was watching the pay-per-view with us tonight, she said she doesn't like the mullet look for Dominik whatsoever. So you're not the only one. And Da Boy Fernando sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you guys for the super chats. Says, do you think SummerSlam will soon be 2 nights too? I hope not. Like, I don't think anything other than WrestleMania should be 2 nights. That's what makes WrestleMania special too, is that it's the one show with 2 nights. I really don't think you need it for SummerSlam also. Just do what you did this year. What they did this year was fine. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat. Says, Edge versus Roman Reigns rematch at some point. Probably not. I think they did enough matches last year. I do not think that's necessary. I definitely see Edge staying away from Roman Reigns and feuding with the Judgment Day guys moving forward. And Retribution was still worse than Judgment Day. I mean, not even close in my opinion. The Game is on 100 sent in a $2 super chat. Says the Mysterios and Becky were wearing Hulk Hogan colors. LOL. I did not notice that, but I guess. Don't think they were doing it on purpose, though. I would be surprised if that was the case. The the red and yellow colors are not exclusive to Hulk Hogan. Next up, we had Pat McAfee versus Happy Corbin. And Happy Corbin was making his entrance, and there was a very scary dude at ringside, a fan, dressed up as the Joker, and I think I might be traumatized. That guy was like yelling and screaming and doing throat cut gestures at Happy Corbin. I was a little scared. Like, this guy convinced me he was going to like jump over the barricade and attack somebody. I did not notice him for the rest of the show, so they must have moved him because he was too distracting. But anyways, as Corbin was coming out, his entrance was interrupted by a choir that was singing Bum Ass Corbin. And I was loving this, by the way. McAfee has new music, which is pretty good. You know, it's not Seven Nation Army, but it's pretty catchy. And I think people will get into it over time. McAfee had Bum Ass Corbin written on his shirt. And this was another good match, you know. McAfee, like Logan Paul, is putting in the work. And there were a couple of times where he almost slipped, though. Like at one point, he got up and did a dive to the outside like a swanton, and he almost slipped on the ropes, but he managed to hold on, and he pulled off the move. He had a lot of trash talking from Corbin during the match. And at one point, Corbin threw McAfee over the announce table and grabbed the headset and started trash talking. Referee ended up getting knocked down in the ring, and McAfee took advantage. He got payback from SmackDown. He kicked Corbin low and then scored the pinfall victory with a code red from the middle rope. Pat McAfee beating Corbin here. A pretty basic match here, you know, not at the level of the Adam Cole match or even the Austin Theory match, but it was still very entertaining. The boy Fernando sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, the Joker guy fan versus the Fiend in a death match at WrestleMania. Well, I hate to say it, but I think the Fiend would be in a lot of trouble against that guy. That guy was legitimately creepy. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, is Corbin's problem that he has bad gimmicks? Yeah, that is part of the problem. And sometimes he's just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like he was the constable when the storylines were really stale and people were complaining. And then the McMahons had to come out on TV and say that there was going to be a change. So yeah, Corbin sometimes is just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But his matches are usually pretty solid, I think. Next up, we had the Usos versus the Street Profits. And you had Jeff Jarrett as the special guest referee. Jarrett was asserting his authority in the early moments of this match. You had the Tennessee Titan cheerleaders, part of the Street Profits entrance. This was a good match, but I have to say, I do not think this match was as good as the Money in the Bank match. To me, it was a little bit of a step down. And at one point, you know, Jarrett was calling it down the middle, but then Jay was getting frustrated, and after the Usos hit double splashes and Ford kicked out, Jay tried to super kick Jeff Jarrett, but Jarrett caught his foot, and then Montez Ford took over. Ford hit a big frog splash off the top, but could not make the cover right away. When he finally did, Jay kicked out. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." And Ford started to get frustrated. He was yelling at Jarrett, and then Ford went for a dive, but got caught with super kicks by the Usos, was thrown over the barricade, and then the Usos super kicked Dawkins, got him back in the ring, hit more super kicks, and then hit the 1D to score the victory over the Street Profits. To me, this looks like a heel turn for Montez Ford. I figured that they were going to not break up the Street Profits yet. I mean, the tag division's kind of weak right now as far as potential opponents go for the Usos. And that's why I was actually thinking the Usos might drop the titles here, but they did not. Usos still the champs. And yeah, Montez Ford losing is cool, which is the sign of a heel turn, in my opinion. And we'll see what happens. But that's one thing Triple H has to work on. They got to stop building up some new tag teams to challenge the Usos. Maybe Johnny Gargano signs a new deal. Ciampa goes babyface. DIY versus the Usos. That would be a good one. But they got to start working up on beefing up the tag team division. Building Nexus with a $2 super chat says, New Day might be the only team left to beat the Usos. Problem is, we've already seen the Usos versus New Day done to death. And the New Day lost clean to Viking Raiders on SmackDown. The Viking Raiders are probably the strongest tag team next to the Usos at this point, but they're heels. What babyface tag team do you have? I guess the Mysterios, but we already saw that too. And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, will Triple H bring in teams to build up the division? I hope so. I hope they could beef up the tag team division. And you do have the Creed brothers in NXT, but yeah, they're kind of lacking right now with tag teams. That's something they definitely have to work on. Because you break up the Street Profits, you really don't have much. You got the Mysterios, you got the New Day, but you need some fresh blood in there. Let's see. Next up, we had Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And again, Judgment Day, they're heels. You need a top babyface tag team to go against the Usos, and they really don't have anybody. The hottest babyface tag team right now is FTR, and they're with AEW. Like FTR, if they came back to WWE, that would be hot, but I don't think that's happening anytime soon. The This Guy Experience sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, did you hear Michael Cole state that if the Street Profits lose, they go to the back of the line of the other tag teams and they are great tags? Ha, ha, ha. What tag teams, Mike? Yeah, there's just not that many. They do have a few, but most of the teams that have any kind of momentum right now are heel tag teams, primarily the Viking Raiders. So anyways, we got Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey. Now, I should mention before the match, first of all, we had a Charlotte Flair video package. I guess she'll be coming back pretty soon. And then we had Riddle come down to the ring. His shoulder was taped up, but he said he wanted to fight Seth Rollins. There were officials trying to stop him from getting in the ring, period. Rollins came down. More officials were trying to break them up. They started fighting, and then Rollins got the best of Riddle, hitting a curb stomp to lay him out. So this was just a little quick angle they did to set up their match, probably at the Clash of the Castle pay-per-view. And Javante, not sure how to pronounce that name, sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, first time watching WWE since Royal Rumble, 8 out of 10. All right, well, that's pretty good. 8 out of 10 is pretty high. Not too shabby. Oh, and by the way, I also forgot to mention Drew McIntyre earlier in the show, like around the middle of the show. He came out there and cut a promo hyping up Clash of the Castle. It was unnecessary. It was filler, just a way to get Drew McIntyre on the show, but really, we did not need this. Anyways, Liv Morgan going up against Ronda Rousey, and they were going very fast here. Apparently, their match got a little bit of time cut, maybe a lot of time cut, and they had to have a shorter match here because they were they were moving very quickly here. Ronda took down Liv right off the bat and caught her in the face with a knee. Liv elbowed Ronda in the face and tried to hit Oblivion, but Ronda avoided it. Ronda got on the arm bar. Liv got her foot on the rope, and Ronda tried to put it on again. Liv once again got to the rope, and then the referee was checking on Liv to see if she wanted to continue. And, well, I guess the referee was considering stopping the match, but he did let it continue. Ronda then put on another armbar, but the way she was positioned, both of her shoulders were down. So the referee counted 3. However, as this was happening, Liv Morgan tapped out to the armbar at 2. However, because the referee did not see the tap out, the referee was counting 3. Liv Morgan was officially declared the winner of the match. So Liv Morgan won, even though, well, she really didn't win. She tapped out. Referee just didn't see it. The This Guy Experience with a $2 super chat says they are booking Liv slightly better than Nikki Ash. That's a good way to sum it up. Slightly better at this point. I figured they were going to do some kind of screwy finish here with Liv retaining, and I'm very happy they're doing the Ronda heel turn, it looks like, because after the match, Ronda snapped. She continued to attack Liv Morgan, and then she attacked the referee too and put the referee in the armbar. So to me, this is very much needed with Ronda Rousey going heel, Becky Lynch a face, start building them up for WrestleMania. Dustin Herrick sent in a $2 super chat, says, I want to cheer for Liv, but she is terrible. Are you saying she's kayfabe terrible, or you just don't think she's that good in the ring? What is it, Dustin? But thank you for the super chat. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, this match is my only complaint about this show. That finish has been done several times already, and Liv obviously botched it. I didn't think it was botched. She tapped out as the referee was counting down Ronda Rousey. The idea was that Ronda won the match, but the referee was unable to see the tap out. So, I mean, I thought they pulled it off, and I get what they were going with it. But, yeah, I think fans wanted to see more of a decisive finish here. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat. Says, were people really expecting a long Liv Morgan match? Honestly, I really was not expecting too long of a match. Even before it started, I was thinking this might not be too long. And yeah, I was entertained by it. Like, they were moving at a fast pace. It was fine. Then we had our main event of the evening. Roman Reigns defending the unified WWE Universal title against Brock Lesnar. Last man standing match. Roman Reigns had a very long entrance. He had his pyro. He had the fireworks. And then Brock Lesnar came out, but he started walking to the back. And then he went over by this tractor that was just conveniently there. Brock Lesnar got in the tractor and drove the tractor all the way down to the ring. This was pretty crazy. Like, at this point, I knew this was going to be something. This was going to be a spectacle. And Titan Shredder sent in a comment here on Facebook, said, wildest main event I've ever seen. Yeah, this match was absolutely insane. One of the wildest matches I've ever witnessed on any wrestling show, period. I will give them that. Like, I've seen everything. 30 plus years of watching wrestling, and they did something in this match that I have not seen before. And we'll get to that here in just a few moments. So Brock Lesnar got up to the top of this tractor, did his own entrance, called himself a big-ass country boy, and then he jumped off the tractor onto Roman Reigns. The match got started. They were fighting all over the place. They were fighting on the floor. They started brawling in the crowd, and then they went back over the barricade by the ring, and Reigns gave Lesnar a Samoan drop through a table, hit Lesnar in the head with the steel steps, and then put Lesnar through another table. Lesnar beat the 10 count. They got back in the ring. Reigns hit a spear, but Lesnar got up again. Lesnar then made a comeback, and he turned the tractor back on. He hit Reigns with the steel steps, hit him with a piece of table, and Reigns beat the 10 count. So Lesnar grabbed Reigns' body, put him in the front loader of the tractor, and then lifted it up and dropped Reigns back into the ring. Reigns managed to get up again. So then Lesnar took Reigns to Suplex City. Reigns got back up. Lesnar hit an F5. Reigns got up. Reigns put on a guillotine, but Lesnar countered into a guillotine of his own. Reigns passed out. Reigns still managed to get back up before the 10 count. So Lesnar got back to the tractor, and then he used the tractor to lift the goddamn ring. He actually got the ring lifted up, and Reigns took this crazy bump, fell to the outside of the ring, and it looked like we were going to have a finish here. But then the Usos showed up. The Usos interfered, and they attacked Lesnar, but Lesnar fought back. Lesnar grabbed Paul Heyman, gave Heyman the F5 through the announce table. Then we had Theory show up, as he was promising he was going to cash in Money in the Bank, or at least attempt to. So Austin Theory came out, hit Reigns with the briefcase, but then Lesnar hit Theory with the F5. The Usos then hit Lesnar with super kicks, and Lesnar got back up. Reigns hit him with a spear. Lesnar beat the count. Reigns grabbed the briefcase and started hitting Lesnar repeatedly with the briefcase. Lesnar got up. Reigns then grabbed the WWE title, used it on Lesnar. Lesnar got up again. Reigns grabbed the Universal title, hit it again. Lesnar gets up again. Actually, no, he did not get up from the Universal title. He hit him with the Universal title, and then Reigns and the Usos pretty much grabbed every object that was available. They grabbed the steps, pieces of the announce table, and they buried Lesnar with all of these objects. Reigns got on top, and at that point, Lesnar was not able to beat the 10 count. Roman Reigns, still your Universal Champion. Wow, this match was quite the spectacle, to say the least. Shanti sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Shanti. Says, aloha. How didn't they get back into the ring in that position? I don't know why. It could have been an awesome spot, in my opinion. LOL. Yeah, there was no way they were getting back in the ring at that point. Just no way. Like, it was sideways. It was impossible. But yeah, the whole deal with lifting the ring with the tractor, that's a whole new take on breaking the ring. Like, we've seen the superplex breaking the ring. For creativity, this was something new. So I definitely applaud them for doing something. And just the visual of the ring sideways for the rest of the match, like, it was just pure carnage, this match. You had these two guys beating the shit out of each other with the table pieces and the steel steps. And, you know, it was a demolition derby. This is the kind of match that you want to see out of these guys. And in my opinion, this was the best Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match. Better than WrestleMania 31, definitely better than their WrestleMania 34 match, better than Crown Jewel, better than WrestleMania 38. I thought this was their best match, and arguably the best last man standing match, and that's saying a lot because there have been some really good ones over the years. They finally had a great match. Although I was enjoying WrestleMania 31 before Rollins showed up. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says either Drew McIntyre beats Roman Reigns in the UK or Cody at WrestleMania 39. I really think it's going to be Drew McIntyre. It just has to be because he's going to be the hometown guy, and it is the Triple H era. It's not the Vince era. So you have to think the hometown guy or the home country guy is going to win. And just imagine that pop in the UK. And this is legitimately going to be 70,000 people in a packed stadium. To me, this has got to be the moment where McIntyre gets his big win that he was supposed to get in 2020 before the pandemic. Hamp Connor with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Said, Theory not winning the title should tell all the conspiracy theorists that Vince is officially done and has no input in what happens. Hasn't won the title yet. Like, it was too obvious that he was telegraphing it. And I suppose it could still happen. They could build up Theory over the next 6 months and have him cash in at WrestleMania or something. And Mike, thank you, I guess, for bringing up Kid Rock. I forgot to mention it. Kid Rock was at ringside and he kissed his lady and started making out with her. And yeah, the less said about that, the better. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says, how will WWE split up the world titles again? That's a great question. And I'm sure Triple H is thinking about how to handle that. I don't know if they're going to do it in the near future or if they're going to come up with some kind of angle for it, but we'll see. I really think they should at this point, but maybe they won't. Maybe they'll keep the one champion, and maybe that one champion can actually appear on both shows, which is what I was hoping for. And Virtue thinks that Reigns is beating McIntyre, so we'll see. Overall, I thought this was a great show. I definitely thought that the first event of the Triple H era, the first premium live event, was a big success. I'm giving it an A-, not an A or an A+, because the middle of the show was kind of just average, but I thought you had a couple of big moments in the beginning with Bayley, Dakota Kai, Iyo Shirai showing up. I really liked that. Logan Paul put on a strong performance. Pat McAfee was entertaining as always. And of course, the main event delivered big time. So the main event in itself was maybe an A+. Like, I thought that was an excellent main event. Great spectacle, really fun to watch. And definitely a match of the year candidate. This guy Experience with a $2 super chat says, waste of money in the bank. Why not wait for the match to end and then cash in? Well, how can you even cash in a last man standing match? Like, they never explained how that was even possible. Do you just stop the last man standing match? Like, it was confusing to me how they were going to do that, but obviously they didn't do it. And like I said, they could build up Theory over the next 6 months and kind of rebuild him, or they could just have somebody beat him for the briefcase. But yeah, they've really made him out to be like a chump right now. All in all, I would say this was a must-watch show. One of the better SummerSlams. I would consider even putting this in the top 5 as far as SummerSlams go. It was up there among the better SummerSlams for sure. Last year was really good too, but I mean, I think that main event probably topped anything from last year's SummerSlam. I'm trying to think if there was any match at last year's SummerSlam that I thought was better than this year's main event. I don't think there was a better match. Rollins and Edge was really good, but I think their Hell in a Cell match was even better. And Cena versus Reigns was entertaining. Carla sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Carla. I appreciate it. Says, hi, Aaron. Still think Roman Reigns can't retain without the help from the Usos. Yeah, I mean, that's the one negative, that Reigns a lot of times needs the help, and especially with Brock Lesnar, needed the help. But if Lesnar was going to lose yet again to Roman Reigns, they had to do everything possible to make Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar look as strong in defeat as possible. So that's why they had all the interference, where they literally had to bury all the stuff on Lesnar to beat him. But keep in mind, Theory did interfere too and hit Roman Reigns with the briefcase. So it wasn't all Roman Reigns having help. Theory was getting involved and screwing with Roman Reigns. So, it was just, it was a crazy demolition derby of a match, and I loved it. So big thumbs up for SummerSlam. Check it out if you missed it, and especially the main event, worth watching. Very, very entertaining stuff. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, give it a thumbs up on YouTube, spread the word, tell a friend about the No DQ channel. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'm still getting used to these Saturday WWE pay-per-views. We do have the Ric Flair retirement coming up, so stay tuned for that. Updates on NoDQ.com. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, like I said. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com. See you all next time.